Welcome back to Yvette's View, where we continue to vibe high on good high vibrations. And today it is episode 4, and this one is called Intentions. And as I thought about my intentions through this journey and through this maze of life, I can always truly say that I always had the best intentions for my family. My intentions was always family first. Everything I thought about was with them in mind. I wanted to build a foundation or continue to stay on the foundation that my daddy had built. My intentions was to get us together, to have a reunion so that I could pass down information about their great-grandfather that they may have not had the opportunity to spend time with and to get to know. It was important that the generations coming after me and my child and my nephews and nieces, that their children would know him and see what line they come from, what legacy they come from. And so the intentions was always to continue to hold the line, if you will, for my family and keep it together, to keep it stronger than ever, just to continue to honor my daddy, because I believe that's what he wanted. That's what he would have wanted. I do know there were a few times that me and my daddy would talk. He would talk about how he was grateful that me and my brothers were close and pretty tight for the most part, even though we would have, your normal brother and sister differences. We still was thick as thieves. And because I knew that's what he wanted, that was my intention throughout my life, to make sure that that's the way it stayed. Now, the other part to that is everybody's gotta wanna do the same thing, right? Because by yourself, trying to hold it together, it can be challenging. And that's what it was for me, but it didn't appear or feel like a challenge, because it was just something I innately did. It's just something that came from my grandmother, Ruth Marshall. And I didn't realize then that under that type of mindset of trying to hold on too tight to your family can work against you. And that's what eventually happened, because I couldn't continue to hold on to people who don't want to be held on to. For me, it was still about maintaining a connection and continuing to stay connected. So throughout this whole entire time of my life, those were my intentions, that is what is going to happen. My intentions was to keep everything flowing as easily as possible for her and me as well. So when I talk about intentions, all of my intentions were just laser focused in on mom, dad, and then the family, the core family, and to keep that foundation strong. The next intention that I had once we were going to move to Georgia, was to have a family reunion, to get all of the family together so that they can celebrate my daddy's life, and the ones who didn't have an opportunity to get to know him can get some information about him and get to know him, and maybe find out if they have some little quirks that they do that came from him. You just never know who it falls on, right? I prided myself on having a close family. I prided myself on thinking that my family was special and different than other families, and come to find out, not so much. It was, I'm gonna say that it was only certain, how can I say this? I thought my family was strong in keeping and staying together until that main source left. The core of this family, the rock of this family, broke off and decided to take another journey. But that rock was constantly giving us information to keep us together. And when it appeared as if everyone was for that while he was here, once he transitioned, the trueness eventually showed itself. And it appeared at one time that we wanted to do something together. And that didn't pan out the way, none of that happened, put it that way, as you can see. None of that happened. If anything, the very opposite happened. I can have the best intentions all I want, but you need support. You need another person that has that same core value and that core feeling that family is first, even once you get married. I do understand that, you have another family. However, you still have a family that you came from, that, at least in my thought, you don't just completely, don't want to have anything to do with, because that's the foundation. That's where you came from. Why is this person attracted to you? You had to come from somewhere, so they're attracted to even some of those values and people that you came from. So it just kind of didn't make sense to me that you would just because I'm married, I don't have to be involved with my family anymore. Or if I have children and they're grown, doesn't mean you disconnect from your children because they're grown. They still, even as grown children, you're just a grown child. You still need your core foundation family. It doesn't ever typically just dismantle completely. Who does that? But there are those who have, and I will say that at this point, for me, that's where I am. I mean, I no longer need that core family. And because, again, for me, when my intentions were for that core family that didn't want the same thing, then I had to eventually get my aha moment and my aha wake-up call. There was no way I couldn't unsee what I saw. I couldn't unhear what I heard. And at that point, then I had to make other choices and decisions. And during that time, it was, like I said, a lot of stuff was done under emotions, but I still had an ear. I still had eyes. I still could see. I still could enter and understand what was happening. Even though sometimes it didn't even feel like it was real, it was. I'm grateful that I had clear intentions, put it that way. My intentions were pure. My intentions were righteous in my eye. Because again, I wanted to continue to make sure that our family stayed connected. If you don't want to be connected, say that. Don't sit here and give pretense as if this is what you want when you don't. Because eventually, as my daddy would say, it's a show and tell. Well, when you show me something, whatever you have told me over, that means nothing to me. Because what you showed me outweighed what you were talking about. I was more like my daddy. If he said something, he did it. And if I said something, I did it. If I couldn't do it, I would let you know. If I got it, you got it. That was my daddy too. If I got it, you got it. Because everyone needs support at some point in time in their life. And to be able to have that support without judgment, without pointing the finger, without, having to preach to me about what I did do or what I didn't do, especially when that wasn't given to you, especially when in the family, if you did whatever, if you needed something, you knew you could come and get you something to eat, and nobody's gonna judge you because you don't have enough money to buy you nothing to eat, because we got food here. So if we got food here and you're hungry, family, get over here and get you something to eat. I'm gonna be offended if you don't. You know what I mean? So my immediate family, there was nothing I wouldn't do for it. Nothing. If I had it, you had it, and they knew it. They knew they could count on me. The one thing is true, the other is also true. I knew I could not count on them. That was the fact. The only one that I could count on in my immediate family was my daddy. So family, just wanted to let you know that, hey, those best intentions, it's always good to have, good intentions. You just have to have some balance in that. And that's the lesson I had to learn. This is it for episode 4. Stay tuned next week for the next episodes. And let's continue to stay high on good high vibrations. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time I post a video. And that's gonna be all for now. Peace.